and gentlemen, welcome to Fashion Avenue News, where only the best will do. I'm your host, Sophia Davis, and today we have an absolutely amazing guest for you. But before we talk to our guests, we have to run over to our sponsors. We'll be right back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on Fashion Avenue News, and I'm excited today to interview supermodel Karen. Karen, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I am so glad to have you on the show finally,
Thank you.
and to talk to you all about your fashion career. So we're going to dive right into the interview. Now, first of all, tell us what got you interested in fashion.
Well, like I said, when I was younger, at first I used to go to church, but in church, and we could not have. That was like a sin. That's what they told us, right? And a girlfriend of mine, she invited me to a fashion show, which I sneaked and went without my mother and them knowing. So I went into a place they call Queen's Hall. That's a big hall in Trinidad where it was so huge. It was like a different world. And I saw the fashion show, but there was a young lady who had now that they consider plus size was walking, and I was like, oh my God, that her legs was what got me, and the way she walked, and I was like intrigued with it. So after the show, I met her and tell her how fine she's fantastic. And she asked me if I was interested. I told her yes, and she introduced me to Richard Young. So when I met Richard Young, he was the one. From there, I started. But because of her, her name is Lisa. Because of Lisa, she's the one that started me off on my journey to modeling.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Now, because you were in church, did they allow this? Because, sometimes church doesn't like you to do too much, too much things. So, how did that work for you?
I used to sneak behind because it was like a sin. I couldn't do my hair, I couldn't wear makeup. So it was a sin to do all these things because it was not of God. So I was like a rebellious one behind the pastor and the people I would be wearing and going to my fashion shows.
Excellent. That sounds amazing. So now when you decided, this is you was hooked, you wanted to be a model, what training did you have? Did someone train you or you just got up on the runway and just started working?
No, I was with a group they call Mannequin Image Management. That was in Trinidad under Richard Young. It still existed. It still exists. And he was the one who taught me to do the turns, the pivot, the walk. he under Richard Young, he was the one who taught me to how to develop my walk then.
Well, that sounds amazing. And the first fashion show you were in, what was the feeling?
The first fashion show, it was fantastic. It was really good. And in those days, and when you do fashion show in Trinidad, you have to wear stockings because stockings was to make it was a finished look. So we had to go through the part of getting stockings to match our complexion. So it was all of that was the anticipation of the fashion show. It was excited because you have to get the full finish look, the stockings, the proper shoes, So it was really it was fantastic, and I felt like alive on when I first started the run. I felt really, really,
You
really
were you were a celebrity, right? You were a celebrity model.
not really. I was one of it had models there before who were the top models then. I was just a little fry. You understand? I was just a little one watching them and walk. But anything I did, any show I did, I was just thrilled to do it. It wasn't matter. It was really fantastic to do it.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Supermodel Karen here on Fashion Avenue News. We're going to say hello to our sponsors, and we'll be right back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the fabulous supermodel Karen, and she's telling us all about her fabulous career in fashion. Now, you have started modeling here in the US. You've been modeling for years. You are one of the most sought after models. Talk about your beginning in the US as far as fashion and modeling is concerned.
And when I first started in the US, I did um, a show with a guy in Harlem named Barnes Harlem Heavenly Harlem Hats. He's Barnes,
Mhm.
Trinidadian hat designer. So that was the first fashion show I did in the US. And then I stopped because family life,
Mhm. Mhm.
of the kid. So I stopped. And then I was on Facebook a day and I saw an ad. It was by Andrine, and she was, she wanted models. So I said, let me try, let me go. And it was in Brooklyn. So when I met her, and from meeting her, she opened me up to meeting different people. So she was my first start into the fashion world in America. I will say Andrine, yes, she was my first start.
That is fabulous because we all know Andreen, Lady Dove Williams, and her unique blend models. And now she has management and talent as well. So if
Definitely.
anyone's out there looking to jump into acting and stuff, she's a great resource. Now, what do you think is your greatest strength as a model? What is your best part of being a model for you?
Personally, I think is my walk is my greatest strength. That for me, I think is my greatest strength, my walk. I know I can walk.
Mhm.
And I enjoy walking. Sometimes I am on my own with my earpiece in my ear, and I walk. I walk. I will be downtown Brooklyn, and I walk. You
You just
understand?
be tearing it up, right? Like you on the runway. Listen, the world is your runway.
Richard Young always used to tell us, even when we were in Trinidad and we not modeling, we walking street, people knew that we were models because we used to walk the street,
All
especially,
the time.
and
You
especially
was
like
always on a runway.
always. And we in the Caribbean, we used to wear a lot of high heels, like because the streets are not long. So when you go in
Mhm.
town and you wear a high heel and you walking up and down Frederick Street is like you on that runway.
You
So
on the runway, honey.
me is my walk.
That is fabulous because that's one of the things that is very important for a model to know is how to walk. Now, what do you think a model needs to have a successful career? What are some of the things? Is it knowing how to audition? Is it making connections with people? Is it, of course, knowing how to walk? Is it having a model bag and being prepared, being on time? There's a lot of things that go with the success of a model. What do you think they need?
I think basically number one, I think you have to be humble. I will say that you have to be humble. Professional, very, you have to be able to be professional, be able to take advice because sometimes you may go in situation where it's very sticky and in terms of different characteristics, I mean, different people, different character, different, I mean, as a whole genre of different things that you might be. And I think professional, you must be able, like people say, to invest in yourself. That's very important. Um, Walking is good, but there are different kinds of modeling depending to what you want to do. Because you can be a fantastic model and still not get anything to do, but you have to be able to adapt in any other situation. You can be how to pose. You
Mm-hmm.
you have to be in terms of you may not be able a good walker, but you might be able to take photos properly. So you have to be prepared in all aspect of the modeling agency, I see. And number one, and other two, you have to like investing in yourself. That is very good as well. You have to be able to know how to connect with people. You understand?
Yeah, that's very important.
That is very, very important. And when you connect with people, you understand. I'm a bit nervous. I'm scared. I saying it because I don't do interviews, but I'm trying. Sorry,
No,
people.
you're doing good. You're doing fabulous.
Um, Networking is very good. It's
Hmm.
one of the best for networking. And right now, as and the internet is on your content, what you put on online is very important as well.
Hmm. Well, one of the things you said I think is extremely important, and that is investing in yourself. Now, a lot of models feel like once they get signed with an agency, they don't pay anything. They will tell you, "Oh, I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay, the agency." But what they don't realize, and you can even Google this, if any models are out there and they like, they can Google it. When you are signed with an agency, and say they fly you to Paris to do a show, or they fly you here, there, you put in a hotel, you're staying here, you're eating food, you want to upgrade to first class. That all comes out of your salary, whatever you're getting paid. There are some models that say they make $200,000 a year. They wind up with $30,000. Why? Because they have magazine fees, they have pool fees, they have your air, your transportation fees. Anything you buy with the model credit card, the company credit card, they take that out. They have administrative fees, they have booking fees, and then they have the agency fees. So by the time they take all of that out from maybe a $200 job, you may only have $30 left. So I always suggest that no, you might feel like you don't have to pay when you go to an agency, but in the long run, you are paying because you still have to pay that money. Whatever they invest in you, you have to pay back. So this is why it's so important. And I'm glad you said that, Karen, is because models need to invest in themselves so that when they go out, they can get a paying job. If you're prepared to go out into the real world of modeling, then you can get the job. Because when you go out there, you're competing with a lot of people.
A
You're
lot.
competing with people that have been modeling from 2 years old, and their families have connections. So it's important that people, one, have connections, like you said, and two, to invest in themselves so that you are properly prepared for any job you go after.
That's true.
Now, tell me a little bit about your strategy for auditioning. Like, how do you prepare yourself for the audition? You're going on an audition. Maybe you know the person, maybe you don't. How do you prepare?
Number one, I learned this year very carefully. You have to read, follow the directions, not read. Read and follow direction. My God, that is the most important thing. I learned the hard way this year in some castings. Following the directions is very, very important. I believe that when you follow the directions, you will prepare yourself for what the casting requires. And if you do not follow direction, you fail. And I'm talking from experience.
That, and you know what? It's good to have that experience so that this way it's a lesson learned. Sometimes, you go to a cast and you don't get selected for whatever the reason. And you get mad and this and that. No, no, no. Look at it as, okay, find out why you were not selected so that this way the next time you go to that particular casting, you're ready and you're prepared. And so I think that that's really good for you to say that, even if you did learn it the hard way. It's okay because guess what? You learned something. And that's the main thing we want to do every day in fashion is learn something.
That's
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with supermodel Karen. We'll be right back. We're going to run over to our sponsors. Back in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with supermodel Karen, and we're finding all about her modeling career. Now, in the beginning, you were considered a plus size model. You're
yes.
not a plus size model now, but you were a plus size model when you started. So, did you get a lot of work then when you were a plus size model?
Yes, I definitely. I got a lot of work when I was a plus size model all the time. It's reversed now. Totally reversed now.
So you don't get a lot. Well, you can't get plus size work because you're too thin for plus size, which is amazing in itself. But
Yes,
now you're getting straight model work.
yes. And it's I like have to compete now with probably another girl who is my size. I'm not that small and I'm in between the size. So now I have to compete with the other girls who are my size. But when I was plus size, it was beautiful. But being at a smaller size now, I realize that designers, that's just my opinion and my experience, designers look at you differently now. I did a couple of shows in the pandemic and I did the same designer who had problems with me when I was bigger. Oh my God, this company was just giving me clothes like crazy. And I was like, oh my God. It was an eye opener to me. That was like, wow. Wow. But I
Well,
am not, like I said, my weight loss, it was for my health and my journey. And
mhm,
I'm not like, I'm not going to be think of somebody like put down somebody because they are at that at where they are in their size. But I know for me, I was not healthy.
yeah,
I did not like
yeah.
how I looked, even though I was confident, but I didn't like how I, and I did this because I needed to change the way how I was, and I'm getting older. And
Mhm.
one of the things I believe I'm getting old, I want to be a fabulous old person, even though when I die, I want to be skinny and fabulous. I told my daughter that point blank period. People may disagree, but that's just me.
And I think that's fabulous because now you see the other side of the coin. And let me just throw this in. When a designer makes a collection, normally, if they're a designer that's really trying to build and build, they normally make what is called a sample size. Now some designers will make different sizes, but a lot of designers make what is called the sample size. And the reason they do that is because if you have 65 models and two of those models don't show up, because everyone's the same height and basically measurement, any model in there can wear that extra outfit. But if you have a model that's say 5'4", and the garment is for a model that's 5'11", and it's a gown, the 5'4" person can't wear it. And a lot of times models think that it's a personal choice of wanting a tall, slim model, but it really isn't a personal choice because they can like the model. It's just, do you fit the garment? And that's the important thing. And I think that that needs to be cleared up because a lot of models say, well, I can work the runway just as well as a tall girl or just as well as a slim girl. And you probably are right. And it's nothing wrong with that. The only difference is a designer that makes a line of, say, I have a line of couture garments. And I, most of them are for very tall people. And it's that way because that is how couture is made. It's not a personal thing toward anyone that's shorter or anything like that. So I think it's important that models understand that. And you've experienced that,
Yes,
when you lost the weight. You see how many garments you got. You see how many designers wanted you.
yes,
You see how
definitely.
much you were working,
Yes,
and you probably were a bit surprised that this happened. You're like, what? You're probably a bit surprised. But this is why they want them, tall and thin. Most people now, we know that the industry is changing. You
yes,
see more mature models, you see, plus size on the runway. As a matter of fact, Chanel did plus size. Now they had done it before, but I think they only had one. This time they had a few more. Valentino Couture had a plus size model. That was never heard of in the industry before. So the times are changing. And I think that it's changing for the better because if you're in the audience, I understand that you want to see someone that kind of looks like you body wise on the runway. So that's really good. But as you can see, losing weight puts you more in demand.
yes, definitely. But also, I got to say this too because touching on that subject, I met a young lady who I used to model with some time ago, but she was younger and slim. And when I met her now, she has no kids, but she's a lot bigger now. Like she is mature.
Yeah.
And I was asking, I said, "Do you still much?" She said, "No, oh my God, I got so big." And I was like, I was, and I said, and I just drove back. I said, but I was a plus size girl, and I still didn't think that I was so big. And I'm saying, even in this industry, and even with the models coming in who are slim, especially if they're young, I think we have to educate them in a way that to tell them that your body's changing. You understand? Some of them, because of genetics, your body change. So
Sure.
I see when she spoke to me like that, to me it opened my eyes to say that. you when you're some you accepted yourself when you and you think that you're not good because you're a skinny model and you got bigger. So her mentality was like how I was bigger, like, damn, you all are big. I don't want to be. I thought, but you're in that category now. So girls who body change because our bodies do change sometimes. Sometimes we fluctuate. And remember, because we are not. Some of us are the background. Some of us came from. We
That's
have
true.
to be able like to think health wise. You understand? To
Mhm.
know that if our bodies change, even though but we can still accept we for who we are. We can still we cannot be like some will be ashamed to say because I got this size, I don't want to model again. I used to be skinny and I'm not big. I'm not. But the modern industry just have to open different doors for different sizes. So the young girls who are slim now because they're modeling and then as time go back, they get older and they change. Some of them kind of that reality kind of hit them that this is how life is. Sometimes we change because of our genetics. So I see even now we can probably open a like where we can speak to young girls about in the modeling industry that even if the body change, they can still be accepted, big or small. We all fit into this into this fashion industry. We all fit into this small circle of model because the fashion world is for everyone, different size.
Exactly.
Understand? It's for everyone.
Well, you made a good point that sometimes when people are younger and they're modeling and then they get older, and as you get older, your body does change because sometimes with women, you have children, you hold on to excess meat because, your body changed when you had the children, you gained a little weight. And also, your life gets busy. You can't run to the gym like you used to because you have kids to take care of. There's no one to watch your children. You got to work, whatever. So, one of the things I always say though to models that even if this is what you do as a model and you want to stay in it, it doesn't matter that you've gotten a little larger. Just know how to present that. That's all. Just, if you're a larger model, wear the proper foundation. Make sure that when you go there, or when you audition, that you're auditioning properly with a realistic look.
Yes.
Don't try to use an old picture of when you used to be a
Yes.
model. Use a realistic look because someone will work with you if they see that, okay, this is how she looks, okay. People will work with you. The modeling industry is opening up. So therefore, it's not going to be just slim models, tall models. It's not going to be like that. It's definitely changing. And I think that it's important that the models that even if you're young or a more mature model, that you kind of see that opening for yourself where you fit in.
That's truth.
Get in where you fit in. If you're a model, put your best foot forward, no matter your age, no
That's
matter what size you are. Always remember you're a model. Your job is to sell something. That is why you're a model. You're selling a garment, you're selling cosmetics, you're selling skincare. Whatever you're selling, remember that that is your job. Now, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, would someone buy this from me? Look
yes.
at yourself. Put some clothes on. Put on foundation, your undergarments, to make sure that when you walk into that audition, that you can sell yourself to them for that show so you can get that job. And I think that that is the thing that's important. See, it's not your size and
Yes.
it's not your confidence because you could be confident.
Yes. That's true.
You have to sell yourself to whomever is doing the casting or, that's looking for models. I think that that's important. And I want to touch on just one other thing, um, mature models, because I know that you said you were, young, you were doing it. You're a mature model now, but you're still sought after. I mean, you're a gorgeous model. You've been on magazine covers. I mean, people want you, and it has nothing to do with your age. I don't think anyone even asks how old you are. They just like you, and they want you in that show.
That's true.
What do you think mature models can do to help themselves to be part of this industry?
I think for us, as we are older, mature women, even with the men, we have to look. I think you have to look good. You can be a plus size, small. You have to look, take care of yourself physically. You understand? So when they see you, and because remember, you're going against younger models.
That's
You
true.
have to present yourself and way, yes, I'm mature, but yes, I can still wear this and look good and sell the garment for you. Presentation. You understand?
Excellent.
Because when we are all going to casting, they look at us as one. We are all one. So they're judging us as one. So you have to present yourself in a way where they can look and say, wow, she may be mature, but I like her. She can
Mm-hmm.
she can represent my brand the way how I want my clothes to look. That's who I want.
Well, I think that's very enlightening because a lot of times, like you said, your friend got, a little bigger, she's more mature. She might feel like she can't do it. But I want to say that I love models of all ages, sizes, heights, and weights because everybody represents a different demographic for your brand. So I don't think anyone should have like any one type of model
That's
in
true.
their lineup. They should always have as much diversity as possible because you're reaching that demographic that that model represents. So this is one of the things I think is very important. So I'm glad you answered that and said, look your best when you go out there to audition because your size, height, or weight, it doesn't matter. What does matter is can you sell the garment?
Exactly.
Now, for our last question, Karen, talk a little bit about inspiration for other models. What inspiration can you give? And also give us your social media so people can follow you.
Read when you go into a casting. Make sure you read what the direction is about. Lord, I learned that this year. Be humble. Be respectful. Be kind to other models. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
Be
I think that's very important.
be kind to I believe that be kind to being humble. You understand? Show
Hmm.
your best personality. Enjoy. It's not always have to be up to enjoy. Enjoy life. That's what else is inspiration. I mean, others might have different. I'm
No,
always
I think that's amazing. That's good. And tell us your social media so people can follow you.
my social media is Facebook Karen Field slash Spooner, and my Instagram is at Spooner Curvy Model, and my TikTok is Karen Spooner.
All right, now this lady is on it. She got the TikTok, she got the Instagram, and she's got the Facebook. Well, I want to thank you, Karen, for speaking with us today. Supermodel Karen, she is burning up the runways, has always been burning up the runways, whether she is plus size or straight size, honey. She does it, and it's amazing to have her in any show. I'm always happy to see her on the runway because she sells that garment. I'm your host, Sophia Davis. You're watching Fashion Avenue News, where only the best will do. And we'll see you next week.